Hello.
Cut my
Welcome to the
music.
Wrestler Review.
Cut my music.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you. Isn't that fun? What's nice about the way he did it,
Cut my music.
so aggressive, the cut my fucking music.
That wretched piece of shit is John Hastings. I am Dazzlin' Dylan Gott. We're talking about Shane Douglas and the Triple Threat, a angle that spanned many years. And I think from your Facebook messages I got, you have a very different opinion of Mr. Douglas than I, which will make this for a controversy episode.
Oh, I love ECW big heel Shane Douglas. I love ECW Shane Flair. He's Gen X Ric Flair. Oh my goodness. Oh, I didn't realize I was doing a podcast with a learned gentleman with a small cup. Look at me with my
It means so much more when you drink out of a
cup.
tiny... Oh,
yeah.
your large.
It's this offensive cup. My bold, gross cup. Well, as opposed to your
You know what that
dainty...
cup is? That's a Manchester woman. This is a nice Brighton lady.
Oh, that is a Brighton lady. To walk me along the boardwalk and hold me by the penis.
Do you want to go by this beach? That's one of my favorite things. There's a beach in Brighton. This is all rocks. Oh, yeah, it's not a good beach.
Yeah. It's still England. What do you do down by the beach? Do you tan? Absolutely not. We go to a building and gamble. What? How bad is this beach? Oh, it's bad.
I love it. Oh yeah, and then there was like a post thing where you put your head through, but it was an Asian guy, and it was really offensive. I really liked it.
Of course it was. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, John, we're
yes,
talking about
Dylan.
Shane Douglas and the Triple Threat.
Another
here.
man who does not like Asian people, Shane Douglas, for sure. That guy, let me say this right now about Shane Douglas. No one says, get your cameras ready. I'm about to do a type of road rage that's going to end up on YouTube more than Shane Douglas's face. Like that guy, Shane Douglas, as a man, I'm going to say it. Well, I'll say it. Stinks. There is no way he's not. Anyone who's really excited about the fact he was a teacher stinks. Like the fact that he like
I remember when I had power.
we also have a friend who's of a similar age to Shane Douglas. There's something if you're Gen X cusp where you think your degree is like a driver's license. Now you're like an expert in that particular thing. I have a friend who routinely has brought up that he has a history degree, and I'm like, you have a BA in history. That means you're qualified to do literally fucking nothing. And he'd be like, I understand. I can tell you what's going on with Trump. I understand fascism, and nothing makes you want to beat the shit out of someone more in the world. And Shane Douglas is the same way. He's like, I have a associate's degree in education, so maybe you want to conjugate that adjective.
Yeah, I think
Bam Bam
there's
Bigelow.
some guy with a really good joke about that, how he has a PhD, and then, like, you know, someone passed out on a plane. Is there a doctor in the building? And he's like, absolutely. And then he crunched up next to the guy who was dying and was like, here's all about Dutch clocks in the 1500s.
Yeah,
Like,
my
it's
mom.
useless, yeah.
My mom has a PhD. I would love if they were like, is there a doctor on this plane? And my mom stood up and went, there is, but not that kind. In his last moments, I'm going to explain to him why human beings have more of an emotional connection with paper. Out of my way.
Anyway, John, check this out. The Triple Threat starts off as Shane Douglas plus two other guys. There's Bulldozer Brian Lee. John, explain
we're
Brian
talking about the
Lee
new
to
Triple
me.
Threat? Okay, so Brian Lee.
Tell me about
Brian
all
Lee
the
is-
types of the Triple Threat, and I'll tell you about various specials in the area.
of your area?
Yeah.
On Too Good to Throw, or whatever the fuck that app is called?
That's actually a really good name for another app that's basically ripping off Too Good to Go. No, I mean, there's a place that someone... Oh, I can't find a barber for less than $40 in here. I'm like,
Excuse me?
These
No.
guys can't never know about haircut. You drive up any street in Toronto, you find an Asian place called Haircut or something like that.
That's what I'm looking
It's
for.
$10.
That's
Yeah.
why London is the best. You want a haircut? You find a Turkish man. More sexist, the better. He's going to cut your hair. I found a great one in Islington. Here's why I knew I wanted to go into it. I was walking by, 5 guys in shell suits. One hot lady walks by. They all look at each other. And one of them went, none of you shouted? You're gay. And I was like, these guys know how to cut hair. Did all 5 of them walk in and take seats while one of them cut my hair? The answer was yes. Did they find out I lived in LA and wanted to know which hot celebrities I have seen? The answer was yes. And when I explained to them the only one I've seen is Bridget Nielsen, who they had not heard of, did one of them bring up fully purchase Rocky IV on Apple, download it, and start watching the movie in front of me on his phone with his 4 friends? The answer is fucking yes. All of that while getting a fucking number 4 all round. That's a fucking haircut. And how much was it?
Four.
Number 4.
Okay.
Like a whore, knock on the door.
One time, here's how I know I'm getting bald. I asked for a number 2, and the lady was like, "Ooh, keeping it long." I was like,
Yeah.
"All right."
Oh, yeah. That's that. You've hit it. You're no longer balding. You're now just a bald man who's like early into it. When they're like, well, I didn't realize Michael Bolton from the '90s was here. If you're going for number 2, you know what I mean?
Ooh, yeah. Anyway, John, our first match that
It's
you
Shane
made me
Douglas.
watch.
Oh, it's so good. Shane Douglas versus Pitbull number 2, greatest ECW storyline ever, which is
Barely Legal 97. Shane Douglas breaks. It's a classic ECW. They really break one guy's neck because they're, it's
So
an
this is
indie
in my
wrestling
notes.
league.
I actually
Go for
took
it.
notes. Did they actually break Gary Wolf's neck? This is the thing that I was like, did they? Because it's like that thing of they're like,
I'm
well,
gonna say no.
I'm gonna say no too, especially
The
'cause
Halo though, if they didn't, that Halo gimmick really good.
well, I was like, I'm like, the Halo means, so they must have done it. And I was like, or they knew someone near at a medical supply store, you fucking rube. Like,
I don't know though, because the way they did the Halo thing, here's more so what I trust is that I don't think that Gary Wolf is that good an actor, because you can clearly see Douglas go all right, 1 and 2 and 3. Oh no, my hat.
oh God,
and then
you're
4,
so
and then dump
embarrassed.
him
Please
over.
cover your shame,
God.
sir. There are men who behave like children watching.
There are men who are sleeping in a hotel because their wife yelled at them listening.
Yeah, there are men who have children Thursdays and some weekends.
Oh yeah.
Okay, no, all right. Listen, I kind of agree with you, but here's why: is I think that if you had an injury that warranted a halo, any sort of being shoved to the ground by a man on pills is going to result in more injuries, and I just can't figure out. I think Gary Wolf is still the man.
Is
to
Gary
do it.
Wolf that dumb though?
That's what I can't figure out. I think he might.
I have days after having reconstructive knee surgery gotten so wasted at a party I ran after a guy in a demobilizer, and that's not good.
Yeah, that sounds like Dylan Gott in the 2010s. I mean, there was
Yeah.
he broke both ankles on
People
different.
were trading me beers straight up for pills. I can't turn that down.
Oh,
I wasn't
man.
gonna do the pills because then pills I can deal with the pain. It backs you up, and then you have to take a big shit. I didn't want to do that.
Nothing truer in the world. I remember when I was prescribed a quote unquote "want to get you addicted" amount of OxyContin when I broke my shoulder, and the amount of ass blaster pills that they gave me. They were just like, look, you're gonna get backed up from this, so you need to take a lot of laxatives. And let me say this about being super injured, unable to push because all your muscles are fucked, and you take a big giant I was constipated, now I've taken laxatives shit. I remember it was so big at one point I was like, do I have to go to the hospital for this? Like I was like, oh my God. Like
Did it
what's
tickle
wrong
the
with you?
prostate?
Is it your shoulder? Oh no.
Did you shoot?
I took a shit so long it qualified. If it was a part of the Bible, it'd be Revelations.
Yeah, Jake the Snake Roberts would name it because it was such a big snake.
So Shane Douglas and Gary he breaks Gary Wolf's neck. He steals Gary Wolf's and Pitbull 2's babe, Francine. And Shane Douglas is, I think, the best Paul Heyman character ever. It's the best example of taking who a guy is and accentuating it perfectly, which is Troy Allen thinks he is the greatest wrestler of all time. And he is fine. He's fine. He's pretty good. He's okay.
Well, also in this, he does become worse because in here's what I think the major
he becomes
thing
actively worse. This is the interesting thing about watching these 3 matches is you watch a man.
Well, he
be
gains too much muscle. He does steroids. He's clearly on a ton of steroids, and he gains so much muscle that it makes him worse in wrestling. It's honestly almost exactly like Triple H.
Well, that's because I think Triple H's McMahon Helmsley era married to Stephanie early thing is just Shane Douglas. Like Triple H heel DX of 2001. Like post Austin hit with the car,
the game Triple H is just the franchise.
Yeah, like it's literally just the franchise. Like Shane Douglas has been like, well, I really wrestled on where to go. Was it WWE or WWE? And it was like, it was clearly only WCW, Shane. There was no way you're going to be welcome back in the WWE. Vince McMahon hates you, and his fucking favorite child that's not his kid is literally ripping off your gimmick. You couldn't have gone
right down to the ponytail, the same look.
It's the same
Everything
look.
is the same.
Down to the girl, down to the attitude.
Yeah.
And I also will say of these 3 matches, the first one is, you're so right. No, the first match, he is the best shape he's going to be in. The second one, he is on so many juicy Lucy's that he's weird to move. And the third one, he's been the champion of ECW for over a year. He's, according to him, owed $100,000 by Paul Heyman, and he has an actively broken wrist, and the match is still great. Like, it's the only match I've ever watched where I'm like, oh yeah, that's why Taz was popular. Because you forget, once Taz hits the WWE, it's like, look, he should have come here 2 years ago because he's hurt and he's going to eat now. What's he going to eat? Pizza. What kind of pizza? Just the dough. It's the grossest thing you've ever seen. He doesn't want the sauce. He doesn't want the cheese. He just wants the carbs.
He wants the tasteless carbs because he doesn't deserve anything. He is a worm.
Yeah, my name is Peter, and I deserve the dough. Anyway, this first match is fucking great. All of the matches are exactly the same. It's very funny when you watch ECW 1997 matches where you're like, man, this is just every pay-per-view WWE match. Why is there allowing interference, but sometimes they don't? Shut the fuck up. Why is there a guardrail in the ring for no reason? I didn't think I need to answer your fucking questions. Great eggs, and then there was a great schmozzy interference section at the end, where the background was Rick Rude in a mask was torturing Shane Douglas, and it was revealed that Bulldozer Brian Lee, who was Undertaker's friend, and it's the weirdest thing, and Undertaker basically, if you look at how like he likes Glenn Jacobs and he loves Brian Lee, Undertaker's favorite wrestlers are just guys that are him. Undertaker, when it comes to people he likes and who he likes to wrestle, is kind of like a gay man I know who once said to me, do you know who I'm into? Guys that look exactly like me, which is just one of those things where you're like, well, that's just information I have for the rest of my life.
This is just The Undertaker is the heavy for Triple H, essentially, but obviously
it
Brian
really
Lee
is the fake
H
Undertaker.
are better versions of Shane Douglas and Brian Lee. I'm sorry. Like, right down to the fact that, like, he takes the primetime slam, obviously calls it the choke slam, and Shane Douglas is pretty much, as we've talked about, Triple H. But there's little things in this match, like Pitbull number 2 comes out, no music, it's a grudge match. You took my girl, you broke my friend's neck. First thing that happens, front face lock.
Of course, that's the thing.
I'm so fucking pissed off at you, I'm gonna front face lock you. No punches. I just want to control the weight.
This is the crazy thing about ECW in this time is this is the peak. All those music videos are everywhere. The only thing I'd ever seen of ECW was Bill Apter's photos in PWI. I remember I finally got to rent Barely Legal in ECW, which was a wild moment, going to Rogers Video, renting something called Barely Legal, not quite twigging what that also could mean. And then I stood next to my professor mom, who has a tiny knapsack, renting Barely Legal ECW, and they're like, all right.
Everyone's like, this is wrestling and porn.
Yeah, what the fuck is this? And then you see a front face lock. That's the craziest thing about ECW is they couldn't quite be an alternative, and also they run out of guys that are good at wrestling. That's the thing that no one talks about. What was one of ECW's flaws? There was like 3 guys there who could do a headlock. Yeah,
that's what Shane Douglas was. He was a big-time pro wrestler who was in ECW. The thing that made him special was that he was an intercontinental champion-level wrestler in the WWF, and he was in ECW with a bunch of guys who, God bless them, had like 2 out of the 5 things that make a good wrestler.
Yeah, and those 2 things are like entrance music someone else gave them. Knee pads.
Yeah. Even though it's like Pitbull 1 and 2, I guess their characters are supposed to were like cyborgs.
They're dogs. No. They're no. Shut the fuck up. Their gimmick we're real dogs. We are real dogs.
Okay, we're real dogs.
And we are managed by a slut. And then that slut, that was their gimmick.
I love it. I couldn't see women in any shot. And
no.
We got herpes. There's a headbutt to the dick.
There's many headbutts
Shane Douglas
to the
is
dick.
Gassed. There's a she's a whore chant.
That was what I was going to bring up. There's a she is a whore chant. There is so much weird rampant interference. A guardrail gets in the ring that they clearly mess up the spot of. Joey Styles does so much, is so good on commentary. But also, I just couldn't stop thinking, how the fuck does this guy not have a right-wing podcast? Like, Joey Styles was the OG, what if Alice Jones is right guy in the WWE. And it's nuts he hasn't pivoted into broadcasting. Like, it is, oh my God, Nancy Pelosi just hired a trans person. Like, it just would be fucking epic.
Well, the thing about pro wrestling and UFC and the marriage of those things is UFC is super right-wing. And as we're recording this just after WrestleMania, that's how far ahead we're recording things because of John's possible new baby. And
yes, and my possible wanting the show to end immediately after we started it again because I want our fans' emotions to be destroyed.
Exactly. So anyway, they showed Dana White and someone else. They showed a bunch of UFC guys like Colby Covington, and they got the shit booed out of them.
Oh, it was very exciting. It was very funny when they showed Colby
Wrestling
Covington
left-wing fans.
Because I was like, why the fuck? Like, it's like, hey, the guy who stole the character of two other guys from this thing has showed back up to be like, no hard feelings.
Well, that's the thing about Douglas when he gets this juiced up is, it is good now that wrestlers do less juice than back then because it makes them better wrestlers, and it kind of doesn't work for Shane Douglas's character to be like really one of the most muscular guys. The only reason that you don't focus on how muscular Shane Douglas is because the character that Shane Douglas is. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have these preconceived notions of the franchise character as being basically ECW Ric Flair. That's why I'm not focusing on how muscular he is. But like, if you just look at him next to Pitbull, next to each other, you're like, okay, Shane Douglas is clearly bigger and stronger than him.
What is very interesting about it though is he's a man doing steroids and still drinking. Like, he's still like,
that's why I like.
He's muscular, but it's also like he's done a lot of steroids and he's just doing arms. Like, he's not doing a full rounded workout.
It's like body business.
Exactly correct. He's doing traps, he's doing shoulders, doing a couple of herky jerkies, and then he's getting the hoot out of there. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I think JR said that to somebody where they were like doing squats, and he's like, it's an upper body business. And he's like, but my whole wrestling style is jumping. And then JR just like didn't understand that and just walked away.
I mean, I got to say this also. JR now and AEW versus, I watched a lot of wrestling over the last week with the WrestleMania and these matches. It is insane that man is allowed near a microphone. Just like Pat McAfee, Wade Barrett,
they got to get
Michael
him back
Cole,
in WWE. Yeah, that's something that he understands.
We're not listening to each other for 4 hours of WrestleMania on Sunday. It was three men watching three different programs, reacting differently, three different ways. And it was still more enjoyable than, like, literally Excalibur. Oh my God, here comes two guys coming to the ring. And Dinjay, all right, is this where I just enter in my grocery order? I'm going to need onion soup, French onion soup. That's two different things, onion soup and French. Like, it's just fucking mental. First match, it ends with a bunch of interference. Shane Douglas, by the way, wins. This is the other thing about ECW that I did forget is heels win a lot. Like, and the triple threat.
Here's what I like about Douglas too is you're keeping in it's like an MJF style heel because his finishing move sucks.
Belly to belly
suplex.
It's
even worse than the Pittsburgh plunge is such a better finishing move. And anytime he's in WCW or WWF, he automatically uses the fisherman suplex. But it's like, that's not the point of that. The point is he is a no fun heel who tells you how good he is, and then his finisher is it's like him throwing laundry on a bed and the other guy's unconscious for some reason.
It's also, it really backed up. What I love about the triple threat is the triple threat really encompassed the yuppie shitty people in your suburb that are like, we're cool because we don't go to school, but we have fingered three girls. That's the thing that this iteration of the triple threat is the best, because you have no gimmicks required. Chris Candido, just so thin from
it's needed. No gimmicks needed.
No, it's required.
No gimmicks required. I don't know if I've ever heard the word required in wrestling.
Required. It's no gimmicks required.
No gimmicks, gentlemen. Chris Candido.
No gimmicks, if you please. Chris Candido. And
I have no character, Chris Candido.
And then the greatest character of all, Lance Storm, joins the triple threat, which is the beginning of Lance Storm has a big penis, which is the greatest ECW fucking gimmick ever. Want to know why Lance Storm gets babes? Thick dick. Next? What next plot line do you need me to figure out? I'll figure it all out.
They let that man, Lance Storm, go to Barely Legal 97 with a rat tail and do the greatest chair shot of all time on Rob Van Dam that made everyone so furious. One of the best moments in ECW history. Anyway, John, next match. Next, we'll do Bam Bam versus Douglas.
I fucking forgot how good Bam Bam Bigelow is as a wrestler. This is the best of the three, in my opinion, because it is the best version of Shane Douglas is a piece of shit heel. He's a fucking asshole, and I hate him. It's his hometown crowd, which is weird, so they're with him. It's later
he's clearly the babyface in this match, and they're doing like it's such a weird, like, here's what I liked about ECW. At least he didn't change. There's always these things when they like have a shitbag heel who everyone likes, and they have to change little things about their character. to make them a babyface, and Heyman just doesn't change anything at all. He's like exactly franchise.
Yeah.
Francine's on crutches. People are still saying she has herpes.
It's so good. Yeah.
My leg hurts. You
the
fucking
woman's
suck a
hurt.
dick.
That is
So
good. The woman's hurt. That is good. Also, the
Yeah.
one thing I forgot to mention is there's a riot squad in the Pitbull versus Shane Douglas match. And
Oh,
I have
yes.
never seen people portraying police, A, more have guts, and B, so easily get winded in my life.
Yeah, Shane Douglas comes to the ring with a riot squad. Yes. All right.
Yeah,
now this
three guys.
match.
3 guys in leather jackets. They all clearly just had a cigarette. They all fall asleep. Then this match, speaking of security, one of the guys has a full stain on his shirt that is not blood. If I had to guess, barbecue sauce. One of the guys, white shirt, just walking to the ring with barbecue sauce on his fucking shirt. Bam Bam Bigelow proceeds to push Shane Douglas's shit in for a full 20 minutes. It's really satisfying and fun. Bam Bam Bigelow is such a good wrestler. Man, pills must be so good that this artist of the square circle was taken from us. He's an artist.
He's great. It's also just very small things. Like in WWF, he has the like flame trunks, and in ECW, he has just the black and white singlet. Also,
Well, it's black and white
Mhm.
flame trunks for Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah.
There's still flames on them. It's just they're
Yeah.
gray. I
Yeah.
always just assumed he's like, this is the one I had left over.
Yeah, but I mean the change of outfit and the little change is important.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that's very interesting about Bam Bam Bigelow is in that way that Shane Douglas always was talking about, I came from cartoon land. Bam Bam Bigelow is actually he's the biggest benefit of being a cartoon wrestler who came to ECW, because basically he was in WWE for all of us to be 8 to 11. And then he went to ECW when we were 12, and it was like, whoa, that guy with a flame tattooed on his head can set people on fire now? This is everything I've wanted from wrestling.
Yeah, but the only thing I will say is it's kind of hard to be like the guy who couldn't really beat up Doink is going.
I mean,
like,
I am surprised
punch
the
for
fans
punch with Dean Douglas. Go
did
for it.
not mention Lawrence Taylor more often. That was the thing. I was like, I feel like we're going to get some LT beat you, LT beat you.
Well, that's the thing about ECW is that they will for your first appearance be like, you're Leaf Cassidy, but then for the rest of the time, like, that's out of our system. You're just Al Snow now. Versus wrestling fans, not even now. I think wrestling fans in the mid 2000s were just like, this guy you were Flash Flanagan, or you were fucking or people forever chanting Husky Harris at Bray Wyatt. You know,
I mean, that was the funniest one where it was like, none of you even watched that. None of you watched that. That was not popular. That's the funny thing about I think wrestling fans also for a period of time were like, I don't know about all that nerd shit, but I do like yelling at strangers. Chant, 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 chant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, all right, so Bam Bam is the heel here. He's beating Shane Douglas the entire match. Francine is on crutches.
Francine's on crutches. Bam Bam takes a swing at Francine with one of the crutches at one point that was so aggressive. She ducks, and it was like, Francine, if you had not ducked, this match would have been you being murdered by a fat man in Pennsylvania. Like it was, you could hear the whoosh on the tape.
Yes, and then I think one of the weirder things is Candido and Storm, who are the other guys in the triple threat at the time, come to the ring.
Go fuck yourself, Dylan. If you don't fucking pay attention, I'm going to come to your house. I'm going to give you a fucking backhand slap. Shane Douglas was in the triple threat. Chris Candido, no gimmicks required, was in the triple threat. Lance Storm and his big penis, he was the triple threat prospect. Not technically a full member of the triple threat. Jesus Christ. Jesus fucking Christ.
They come down, and then the security guards are like, don't enter the ring. And they're like, okay. And they just like walk to the back.
Oh, again, also remember the plot of the match, Dylan, was if the triple threat interferes, Shane Douglas is disqualified. They actually put there was something that could disqualify a wrestler in an ECW match, which is like, that's the equivalent of doing the elimination chamber in any other federation. This match, if the ref counts to 10, it's going to mean something. Oh my God, we've got a new match in the ECW arena.
That was the whole thing about when they had rope breaks. They'd have a rope break, and we're like, okay, well, he broke this is New Jack, but he obeys the rope breaks.
I mean, that's the funniest thing when they break. I do love in a no disqualification match. There was one at WrestleMania this year where it's literally like the entire ring's covered in tables, chairs, and ladders. Everyone's on fire. Someone gets put in a submission hold. No, he hit the rope. That's a break. It's like, shut the fuck up. It's like, I once was fighting with an ex-girlfriend, and in the middle of a very aggressive fight, she tried to correct my grammar, and I was just like, yeah, we're not doing this. We're not doing this shit.
Oh, it's good. That's a good move, though. What'd she say?
What was it? It was a pronunciation. That's not how that word's pronounced. And I just went, we're not. I said something. I don't remember what I exactly said, but I do know it was not. It was not kind or helpful.
You're a crack whore.
I think I just started a "you got herpes" chant, and the entire neighborhood joined
herpes.
in.
I gave
you
them to
got
you.
herpes.
So do I know. So anyway, they politely escort out. And
they do politely
I really like the finish
out.
of this match where he
Dylan?
belly to bellies Douglas. Douglas belly to bellies Bam Bam Bigelow. Bam Bam no sells it at first, and then he does a second belly to belly onto a table. Immediately he's on top of him. 1, 2, 3.
What I like about the finish is it's clear that someone said, actually, no, you have to end the match now. Like, I've never seen a match where it's like, all right, we got 5 more minutes to build to the finish, and the referee's like, no, you don't. You need to go right now. And they're like, oh, okay. Like, it's
I like ECW pay-per-views, though. Like, WWE pay-per-views now, they end with, like, 9 minutes of posing, so you can really, like, take in what happened. But ECW pay-per-view, like, Shane Douglas won. Everybody out of the building. It's like switchovers at comedy shows. Second show's coming up. Get the fuck out.
Would you like to know why that happened? It was because usually they didn't time the ECW pay-per-views
thing.
So what would happen is they would get the main event in the ring, and then Todd Gordon would turn to Paul Heyman and go, "This match has 7 minutes before they just kill the feed."
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, you're trying to organize a 3-hour event with a bunch of addicts who are on steroids.
With no staff. Like, that's the other thing where you're like,
Yeah.
who worked at ECW? Well, the wrestlers, Paul Heyman, and Gabe Cebulski. That is it. Wait, what? Yeah. You'd think it would be a hard business to get a job at, but as it turns out, if any of those fans had just walked into the back of the building and gone, "Can I work here?" a very stressed man would have gone, "I thought you already did," and handed you, like, "Here's New Jack's phone number. You have to keep calling this." Why? I don't know where he is, and eventually he always picks up that phone, even if he's not in that city. I don't ask questions.
So that was that. Shane Douglas 2-0 on our matches, and here we go. Taz, guilty as charged, 1999.
Now this is the end of the era. This is the last very good ECW pay-per-view. This is when they lose. This is literally the production elements and the vibe of this pay-per-view so much higher. They now have an ECW magazine. They have video games. This is the big peak of ECW. This is ECW like, we are the third company in wrestling. We're fucking sick. Everyone is aware of us. They're negotiating actively to go on national television, but Paul Heyman's really bad at negotiating, so he negotiated a terrible deal, and this is the beginning of him losing all of his good tentpole wrestlers. And it is Taz beating Shane Douglas, the culmination of an over year-long storyline of Shane Douglas being the ECW champion. It was supposed to be Sabu's shot. Taz stole the shot from Sabu. This is I think the best ECW championship storyline ever. Shane Douglas just knowing he can't beat Taz, acting like a chicken shit heel, like ruining his empire essentially to just protect himself from Taz. He alienates the triple threat. It's so fucking good. In reality, if you listen to Shane Douglas tell the story, Shane Douglas is such an emo loser. He goes into this like long, in-depth annoying. He's like, Paul Heyman owed me $750,000 and didn't fucking acknowledge that I invented the song Indigada Davida. I wrote it. No one knows that about me. I came up with ba 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 da 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 da. Anyway, so I arrived in Florida, and I went. This is his story. I went to a Bennigan's for a long time, and then Batman Bigelow reminded me of the fans, so I did it for the fans. And you're just like, Shane, I love you so much in ECW, but please stop giving shoot interviews. You are the worst version of yourself at all times when you're breathing. Like, it's just awful.
Well, I mean, he had some good stuff. He stays in ECW a bit after this because
he does. He stays in ECW a bit after this. More than likely, it really feels like in the ways that you and I have both worked for a promoter that hasn't paid us before. Because sometimes you'll just, if you can get in a room with them again, you can be like, "Hey, you piece of fucking shit, give me all the fucking money you owe me, or we're gonna have some fucking issues." You know what I'm saying? Like, and that.
But
really
it's also like wrestlers wrestle because of the pops they get. And Paul Heyman can very easily just be like, "You're never gonna like we and I both know you're never gonna be this over again." This is a moment in time.
Shane Douglas does not know that. Shane Douglas clearly does not know that because Shane Douglas goes to
he goes to WCW, and then he comes up with the greatest catchphrase: "Out with evolution and in with revolution," which makes no sense. If you're thinking of, did he mean because Evolution, Randy Orton, Batista, and Triple H and Ric Flair were around? No, they weren't around for a good 5 years until after that. Would have made sense. But no, he meant that evolution is bad and revolution is good. Evolution kind of a form of, it's Best not to think about it.
Yeah, what is Revolution, Dylan? Oh, it was the Radicals from the WWF plus Shane Douglas. And the reason why Shane Douglas couldn't come with to the Radicals to the WWE is when they walked out of WCW, everyone else was like, I'm going to the Fed. I'll be welcome there. And Shane Douglas was like, hey, I'm going to stay here.
Yeah. Hey, what if we didn't do that because it would be bad for me? Can I still be your manager? That I remember them trying to do a what's the spot called where they just sweep each other's ankles? Him and Rick Steiner trying to do that on a Thunder, but then they both got so exhausted one trip through that they just both basically fell down and just lied there for a second.
I actually know exactly the match you're talking about. It was also involves Asia interfering.
Oh,
if you don't remember Asia, WCW, when Vince Russo it's crazy that Vince Russo still has people listen to his podcast, because if you watch Vince Russo ECW or WCW, it's literally like, what are they doing on Raw? Okay, we'll do that next week. It's just like, what?
Okay. All right. So wait, they got Kurt Angle. Okay, he's the American gold medalist. Well, we have a Canadian bronze medalist, Kirk Bagel.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Triple H is really over as being like this big sort of cerebral heel. Get me Mike Awesome, dress him like he's in the 70s, and then have him have sex with a lot of fat women. Wait, what? What means good right here? Okay, bye.
The only reason we're doing that is because John Lithgow isn't returning my calls, and I wanted him to play the Third Rock from the Sun character and actually pin Mike Awesome on our pay-per-view. Anyway, Douglas versus Taz.
Oh, it's so good.
Huge because WWF fucks. I think it's really, really unsung how badly WWF fucks over ECW, because literally the first episode of ECW on TNN is Taz going, I don't need weapons. Everyone else does. My hands are my weapons. You'll recognize me because I'm the world champ, but I'll be dumping people on their heads. And then he goes into WWF like a week later, and his character is, Tiny Boy can't reach the ring very well.
Yeah, okay. So Paul Heyman claims, he's like, they took our champion and our tag team champions in the same week. The other thing, if you look at it, is part of the problem Paul has at this point is he's so burnt out, he's built no one after Taz. So when he gets to Taz as the world champion, it's kind of like when Marvel did Endgame for the Avengers movie, where it's like, and the series is over? What do you mean we're going to keep going? Like there is, and so it's this interesting thing of like, within 2 pay-per-views, he has a match against Bubba Ray Dudley. Like, because the biggest heel in ECW at this point, because shit had got so crazy, was the guy who came out and was just like, everyone here's a fat cocksucker. And they were like, he's the worst and best. Like, it's the AEW MJF problem of 2022, 2023 of like, well, I've built up this one big guy to be big, and that's all I remembered to do, god damn it. And this match is the best example of that, because Shane Douglas is so fucking good in it. He is clearly on pills. He is so, like, the match, the pre-match interview is the most first of all, he's 35 here, which is crazy, where you're like, man, Shane Douglas, I've never seen a man look more in his 30s and also not in his 30s. He at this point is no longer speaking to Francine, because Francine is now having an affair with Tommy Dreamer, and even though Francine and Shane Douglas were not having sex, Shane Douglas is like, that's affecting kayfabe, so he wouldn't talk to Francine, which is like, fuck you, Shane Douglas. Like, this is ECW. Like, New Jack is literally borrowing weapons from the people in the front row. It's a different type of kayfabe.
Well, I mean, I've never been addicted to pills, but I assume it's like when you party too much and you're like completely psychotic. So, I mean, I wouldn't really like judge these guys on what they're doing, because they're like not being paid, addicted to like 4 different substances. I'm like, she won't talk to me only because I stabbed her tires. What a bitch. You know, like, none of it makes any fucking sense.
I mean, I do agree with you, but at the same time, it is fun to be like, what this fucking guy? Because also Francine, every shoot interview with Francine is just like, oh, I was just trying to be nice, and, you know, that guy was nice to me. So we were intimate, and then 5 different wrestlers wrote me a letter that said I'd betrayed them.
So yeah, Taz does a good promo. Douglas does a promo with a broken hand. It's kind of like the Bam Bam match, where I think it does take away from it. It's like, Shane Douglas is scared to fight Taz. He's been avoiding this for a whole time. It's like, well, he is broken. He's got a broken wrist. And they still have like a back and forth match, even though Shane Douglas has a fucking broken wrist and Taz is supposed to be this like ruthless, pissed off machine. It's like, it's kind of like, I don't understand how they didn't arrive at the fucking Cena Lesnar match like pretty much 20 years beforehand, where it's like, Taz should have just fucking come into the ring and just basically punched his wrist until he got him in the Taz mission, and it should have been a 5-second long match. But the whole reason, and the entire thing, I wrote this down like 6 times, clearly Shane Douglas is on borrowed time because A, the fans thank him, and B, Paul thanks him for throwing down the NWA title in the early 90s. Like, that made ECW, and everything, the way he's booked, his position in the company, there's so many people that could have, like, went ahead of him with his skill set that didn't go ahead of him because A, because of his availability, they knew he'd always be there, and B, because he did them that solid. So that's why this whole match is back and forth, just because it's like you're the big territory babyface or the big territory dude, and you're handing it over to Taz, who now is going to leave immediately.
Absolutely. What's also amazing is it's so clearly they're trying to set up another version of the Taz Sabu feud, which the problem was is they built that up too much and done a good match at Barely Legal that the fans are kind of like, I don't need it. It's fine.
Yeah, Taz is like a guy who, when he beats people, they're beaten, so you need new guys all the time.
And they just didn't have any new guy. Like, this is the thing, is like there were no new guys brought in. It's also like then
they could have brought in Mike, different world, Mike Awesome and Taz, like a different world.
And they bring in Mike Awesome, and they bring Mike Awesome in way too late. He comes in at Anarchy Rules with Masato Tanaka versus Taz, and they both beat Taz for the ECW world title. It doesn't work in the way that they wanted it to. It's a real fuckaroo. But this match is, again, great. It's a very, very fun back and forth. Shane Douglas takes chair shots, tables, all sorts of things, but is finally beaten because a very small man who is cucked by his girlfriend comes in and punches him one time.
Yes.
Also, what is great, and let me just say this, seeing Tammy Sitch come in the ring now, you're like, man, it's so good that you're about to get hit because you turned out to be such a bad person. Like, it really reframes the whole thing where you're like, don't hurt this poor little girl. And now I'm like, she murders a bunch of people. Have at it, Franny. You know what I mean? Like, go on. Go on, son.
I forgot about ECW cat fights until that moment.
How could you forget about ECW? There is nothing great. It is so crazy. Imagine explaining cat fights to a Gen Z person. What's a cat fight? Oh, hi. Porn wasn't as easy to get back in the day. So if 2 women started fighting in the street, every man would stop because A, we thought a tit might fall out, 2, they might kiss. And if
that's a Jerry Seinfeld joke.
That's a Jerry Seinfeld.
He was Jerry Seinfeld, the cleanest comedian of all time. I was like, maybe see a pussy come
No. I don't even actually think it was a Jerry Seinfeld joke. Jerry Seinfeld was just saying.
Seinfeld.
I know it.
Movie Seinfeld.
It was in the movie Seinfeld.
Movies?
The 30-minute movies that aired in the little theater in my living room.
This is a really special part of the match. There's a guy who's telling his friend to take a picture of Francine, and then he does. This is on the hard cam, and he just goes, good.
Oh, yeah. The hard cam. The hard cam of all 3 of these matches is a real tale of the tape. I would say this.
Really hard, yeah.
If you literally just took all of the front row photos and then just went, all right, we're taking take that, and then using facial recognition software, J6, I guarantee you're getting 18% overlap. But then you go facial recognition software AVNs, you're getting 100% overlap, baby. And by the way, the people, the ECW fans involved in January 6th, not political. They were just there to jack off somewhere new. I'm just here to jack.
No.
I don't know who Trump is.
I can jack off on Nancy Pelosi's office?
Whoa.
Oh, you're trying to desecrate it. I'm just trying to have a good time. She's got good tits.
You're telling me in this building there's a bunch of empty offices now? I can jack off it? Yeah, I'll fucking go. I mean, we're here to fucking affect the election. Yeah, I'm affecting this erection.
This is the only library I haven't jacked off in America, and I'm really excited to get it off my list.
Hello, my name is Hat Guy. There's 2 things you need to know about me. I love wrestling, and I love jacking off in historical significant scenarios. And because of the police being so good at their jobs, I keep getting caught at the Lincoln Memorial. Well, now that I have this J6 distraction, that's going to be called the Lincoln Dick Memorial.
Oh, I can't go to Washington just because I put one of those suction dicks on Lincoln and sucked it off in the middle of the day? Who's small-minded now?
Oh, I didn't realize that Washington, D.C. had gotten so pedestrian that if you bring a fleshlight to the Smithsonian and you have the fleshlight on your hard penis while you're sat in Archie Bunker's chair, they ask you to leave politely. Either ask me rudely or don't ask at all.
Oh, yeah, the rudeness helps me nut, you fucking
Yeah, exactly. Shit. I'm here to have odd interactions. I'm trying to nut, for fuck's sake, EC Dub.
I do like in main events how they would just go all around the arena. Taz doing a T-bone off the platform, Tazplex through the table, Sabu interference and just kills everybody. Like you
Can
said,
I just say, Sabu interference, it's okay, two things. One, this match is literally the template for every Rock match in a pay-per-view on a WWE pay-per-view before he goes Hollywood. It literally, Rock 98 to Rock 2001 is just this match done every time. They go in the crowd, there's some big move, they end up back in the ring. Two, the Sabu interference is insane because Sabu, a man known for drop the lights out, appears in the ring, for some reason gets a big entrance with pyro, where I'm like, yeah, I can see how everyone's pissed off about bouncing checks. You literally made a guy's entrance who is so simple so expensive. What the fuck are you doing, Paul?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a new thing to have people, not a new thing. It was a new thing for the 90s to have people basically, it's I would say the mark of like, I don't want to say they're bad, but it's like B and C wrestlers who are in a main event where it's like you start in the ring, then you fight around the arena, and then you end in the ring, and then there's interference, and then the interference is just like, these are all just colors to the match because the match is going to be so long, which I do agree with.
Yeah,
because it's like, you know, in wrestling has always had a problem. Every major wrestling thing has always had a problem with like, there's no stakes. Like, it would take a while to like recondition everybody, but there's no like, WrestleMania main event will never end with, yeah, he, you know, heel beat up Babyface's arm and then just ended with an armbar that he'd never used before. Versus, like, there's always tension in any real fight because, obviously, if a guy gets kicked in the leg, now he can't throw his jab or whatever. Oh, his leg's compromised.
Yeah.
That's what adds to, like, real fights versus wrestling's always had that thing where it's like, oh, no, there's only these 3 magic moves. And that's like maximum that can end the match.
Of course.
So we need a bunch of interference to be like, maybe a belt shot will work, you know? That's why I thought talking about something that happened a clean 2 months ago now by the time this episode. That's why I thought the one belt shot for Cena was a good finish to WrestleMania and everyone's shitting on it. It's like, yeah, man, you can't do 9 AAs every time, just like now a belt shot can win.
I couldn't agree with you more about the ending of WrestleMania, which I've never seen wrestling fans being like, what the fuck? This fucking heel who told us the match was going to be boring had a boring match and then won, and I'm not filled with joy. This is disappointing. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, they're building towards something. No, they're not. That's not something they're doing. This isn't planned. It's like, I fucking hate you all.
Also, Cody and Cena have a lot in common with Taz and Douglas, where it's like their biggest strengths are their promos. And Taz, by this time, is like visibly smaller than he was. Like, he got really juiced for the Bigelow match because he knew he was going to have to throw Bam Bam Bigelow all over the place.
Yeah, he's much leaner. The thing is Taz is much leaner. But the thing with Taz...
he has to do the thing that people do in Hinge photos, where it's like this. Like, he's just walking around like this. You're like, all right, man.
But this is the thing with Taz and it's purely because Taz is uncomfortable about his height. Is the reason why he's the human suplex was seen, and Joey Styles used to say this on commentary, is I remember you would think him being smaller is a disadvantage. It's an advantage because those suplexes can come from anywhere because he's lower than you. And it was like, oh shit, there we go. Then that's an advantage. Like that, and it's like, right. Yeah, like I never understood why they didn't just do that in the Fed. And it's like, have him fucking beat the shit. Like, it's a thing of like, how do you make Frankenstein scary? Have him kill a couple of villagers, and people are going to be like, okay, I guess I'm supposed to be scared of this guy. And what's weird about this match is it's like, well, to your point is, if they really wanted to put Taz over, you have him walk to the ring, punch fucking Shane Douglas in the fucking wrist a bunch of times, and then fucking win the match. Instead, it's like 50-50. Sabu nearly kills Taz. Taz then gets up and is like, that's fine. No, not a fucking loser. And then they fucking throw each other through some tables some more, and then Kasa Hajime. After, of course,
Taz mission with a good struggle, but that's what it is. And also, the Taz mission comes in not because Taz beat him, because it's a distraction from Candido.
Yeah, it was the distraction from Candido. He was able to sneak up behind him. The Kasa Hajime is what it should have been called. I never liked it when it was the Taz mission. It was also, the Kasa Hajime is the last submission.
Hajime.
No,
the Kaz-Hashi lock. There you go. Kaz-Hashi lock.
The Panda Express lock. I don't know.
There you go. That's bad. All right, go.
Yep, gotta get arrested for that one. I will say this. I just like that when it's such a crazy move that how Joey Styles remarks to the, what do you call it? The Kaza Hajime?
Kata.
No.
Haja.
Kaza Hajime.
Kaza Hajihu. All right.
The Hicha Hacha Hucha Hacha, What I like about it is Joey Styles just goes crazy and keeps calling it both things. Oh my God, it's the Kaza Hajime, the Taz mission. Like, it's just like there's something about that. There's just like, it's like that move's got 2 names. It's got to be good.
Well, it's also back when they still had like 90s rules in WWF. So it's like you couldn't do a choke and then he's choking everybody. And that was the whole thing about ECW. Everyone else in this league is here because they use weapon and they're bar fighters and they're dirty and no one can beat them in a bar fight. This guy's here because they won't allow him to choke people in the big 2 promotions. So it was like, it made sense. It's like, also, I mean, the problem that Taz had, which we all knew at the time and was said over and over at the time, is that everyone else, like the Steiners did a bunch of suplexes. You what the Steiners also did? They were strong enough to protect the guys. Taz was strong enough to throw the guy, and then you're on your fucking own.
Blah, blah, blah. Dylan's worried about people. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, were you worried about?
But that's also part of the ECW thing. Like, look how extreme it is. Taz just killed that guy because he can't really do this.
It is why, and this is something, and then we have to run, unfortunately, shorter episode this week. Daddy's got a errand.
Daddy's got to get that Smithsonian.
I gotta pop by the Smithsonian and pick up my flashlight. I left it on Lincoln's penis. That's his nose. I'm a prankster. This is no better exemplified than when Sid comes into ECW very briefly, and Sid is supposed to be brought in to bring over Just Incredible, and Sid is just like, nah, squash match, and just squashes him, and it's like, oh, yeah, there's nothing we can do to stop a big guy who's actually big from just attacking a smaller guy. I forgot how physics works. All right, fire Sid. Like, it's just like, oopsie doopsie. Well,
yeah, I think the Dudleys, someone gets over on, I think the Dudleys do 2-on-1 get over on him and then he leaves.
I think that's how they do it. It's really
but it's
weird,
like, I'll only lose to 2 of your guys.
Yeah. Also, it's one of the many times where I'm like, wouldn't you ask Sid this before you hire him? No, after. Why? Fuck you.
I just figured he'd be nice.
Yeah. He's so tall and sweet. He does that fun smile where you know how most people smile and it's curved up? He does this smile where it's curved down and he's red and yelling. I find him fun.
I mean, we got to do some Sid in ECW because there's nothing with more potential.
Shit. Well, ladies and gentlemen.
But I mean, it's not even, it's just like, we could do every appearance of Sid in ECW. No, next week we're doing Bullet Bob Armstrong because I get to pick and I'll pick the matches.
I mean, I do. Yeah. Are we doing Smoky Mountain Bullet Bob Armstrong? Because no one more shouldn't be wearing a shirt than Bullet Bob Armstrong at Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Bullet Bob Armstrong he's wearing like a shirt he got from the Salvation Army that's wide open that is a dress shirt, and he's like, hey, everybody, you dirty white boy, you gonna go, you trying to steal my cigarettes? Oh wait, this is the storyline? Oh shit. All right. All my sons are gonna disappoint me. I'm going to cut a promo on my sons.
If you don't think that there have been matches in Smoky Mountain Wrestling that were to do with the fact that one of the wrestlers took the other wrestler's cigarettes in the back, you have not watched Smoky Mountain Wrestling. It is, Smoky Mountain Wrestling, going from ECW to Smoky Mountain Wrestling is literally like going to 2 different versions of the same reality. Like, if there's no shit Jim Cornette and Paul Heyman can't get along, they're the same guy, WWE and NWA. Like, Jim Cornette is doing Smoky Mountain Wrestling, which is the natural conclusion of what you would do as an alternate to WCW if you love the NWA. And ECW is what you would do to the WWF if you loved territory WWF. They're not a bunch of ethnic guys. They're different guys on different drugs, and you root for whichever guy's drugs make them more like you. I'm a barbiturates guy. I like an MDMA fella.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of guys at a weird bar, and you're trying to cheer for whoever at the fight outside. Thank you guys so much. I'll put the Bullet Bob Armstrong matches somewhere, maybe on Instagram. Who knows? Thank you guys so much.
Thank you
for your time. Enjoy your night or day.
Only listen to us at night.